We're now going to set our limits in our drawing. Now our limits have already been preset by the drawing template file that we created. If you remember, we set our limits to 0, 0 at the bottom left corner and 6,000, 6,000 at the top right corner. And then what we've done, we've placed our building line here, and if I just measure that using the distance command on the measure tools and go from this endpoint, left click, to this endpoint, left click, you can see that it's 4,500 millimeters square. Now if I wanted to make that twice as big, let's say 9,000 millimeters square, I would need to make my limits bigger so that when I did a zoom all, I could see all of the area that I'm working in. So let's exit the measure tool there, and what we'll do, we'll have a look now at our limits, we'll change them appropriately, and we'll also make our building line bigger. Now, let's make our building line bigger first. What I'm going to do, I'm going to scale my building line by 2 using the scale command, and what that'll do is it will make it 9,000 by 9,000. And then I'll perform a zoom all, and what we'll see is how that works. So let's go to scale here on the modify panel on the home tab. Scale is there, so let's click on scale and come into the drawing area. I'm going to select my building line, left click, and then press enter, and it'll ask for a base point. So I use the bottom left corner at 0, 0, left click. Now as I move away now, can you see that trying to scale to infinity there? It needs a scale factor, which is 2. I'm then going to press enter, and you'll see it's twice as big. So what I need to do now is go to view, and I'll do a zoom extents, and then what I'll do, I'll roll back on the wheel mouse a notch. Notice it doesn't really look any different, but it is twice as big. Let's check that by going to the home tab, measure, distance, and now if I left click endpoint there and left click endpoint there, it is actually 9,000 square. So I'll exit the measure tool, and what I'll do now, let's go to the view tab here and go to my navigate panel and click here on the down arrow and select zoom all. Do you see what happens? It only zooms to the extent of the rectangle that forms the building line. That's because if I zoom to the limits, not all of that rectangle would fit on the screen. So when you do a zoom all, it will either zoom to the extent of the limits or zoom to the extent of the objects on the drawing, whichever is the bigger at the time. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to change my limits by typing in limits and pressing enter. Like we did previously, I'm going to keep the lower left corner at 0, 0. So it's 0, 0, enter. Notice 6,000 by 6,000 is the default there in the little grey dynamic input box. I'm going to make that bigger. I'm going to make that 12,000, 12,000. Remember to check your zeros there. There's nothing worse than typing in 12,000, and then 1,200 and then pressing enter without realizing it. Always do a quick sanity check before you press enter. So I press enter there now, and now if I perform a zoom all by going up here to the navigate panel, watch what happens. Notice now the building line looks smaller with that particular zoom magnification. That's because I've got the 9,000 distance from here to here, plus another 3,000 of my limits here, and also out this way, 3,000 out this way in the X direction. So setting your limits allows you to set space in the model space for what you're drawing. You can change it even though it's already been preset in a drawing template file.